Good morning, church. It's so good to be with you all this morning here via live stream. And I want to share with you all a little bit today the scriptures and how they spoke to me this week. I had a colleague and friend back in St. Louis, the Reverend Dr. Warren Cruz. And Warren used to say that most of the time you preach a sermon, and occasionally you preach a homily. And on a beautiful and rare occasion, you get to share with people what he called a BLT, which is a blessed little thought. So I hope that my reflection from this week can help enrich your life in this time. So I want to focus this morning on Psalm 23. And if you have a Bible at home, like I do, you're welcome to follow along. There's so much rich truth to be found in our scriptures, and I hope that you'll explore it more even after our time together this morning has ended. I want to focus on Psalm 23, a psalm that is so familiar that you might be thinking, Melanie, I have read this a million times. I practically know it by heart. And I have to confess that was my first reaction as well, to this being one of our chosen readings for the day. You see, on my mother's side, they're mostly Methodist, and I grew up in the Episcopal Church. So I'd say about 85% of all funerals I've ever been to had Psalm 23 read there. And at some point, I think I got sick of hearing it because if you go to my funeral plans that are at the church office, in big bold letters on my instruction sheet, it says, "At my funeral, do not read Psalm 23 and do not sing Amazing Grace." The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want. I don't know about all of you, but several days over the past couple of weeks, I've felt much more connected to Psalm 22 on the previous page here than Psalm 23. My God, why have you forsaken me? Psalm 23 has felt kind of far away in this difficult time. And there have been several moments when I felt either angry or maybe envious at the psalmist in their tune, in their song to God. The psalmist in Psalm 23 feared no evil while I was waking up with an anxiety nightmare. And their cup was running over when mine felt kind of empty. Psalm 23 made me feel like kind of a bad Christian this week. But Psalm 22, I could identify with. Well, my good friend Nancy Schwartz says that God is merciful and nothing is wasted. And so I read Psalm 23 about 100 times, over and over and over again, looking for something there, something that was given to me. And I realized Psalm 23 was exactly what I needed to hear right now. Jesus is my shepherd. When I feel lost and alone and forsaken, he is there. His presence brings comfort, and the example of his life revives my soul. He provides us rest and nourishment for the journey, and Jesus guides us in unfamiliar territory. I was reminded, reading it over and over again, that my head too was anointed with oil at my baptism. And God's goodness and mercy are surely right here all around us. In people caring for one another, in neighbors checking in with one another, in people making donations for the kids at John P. Parker School, and even in the grace of this technology that allows us to be together today. The gospel this morning, it's about seeing things which we were blind to. And in the spirit of that truth, if any of you get to the church office before I do, please go to my instruction sheet and just cross out those big bold letters that says, do not read Psalm 23 and do not sing Amazing Grace. Because Psalm 23 is exactly what we need to hear. It's exactly what we need to hear in the most difficult times. Jesus, the Good Shepherd, will lead us. He'll lead us like he led the blind man to healing and restoration, and he will come and find us, just like he went and found that blind man. He'll come and find us even when we can't find him, when we don't know where he's gone, and when we don't know how to thank him for all the good things that he's done in our lives. I pray that we'll all be given opportunities in this life to share the story of God's love for all people, and that we, like the man who was blind and now sees, that we might be able to say to everyone around us, there is so much that I don't know, right now and might not ever know. But this one thing I do know with all of my heart is that Jesus took on Psalm 22 so that we could live in Psalm 23. And that's why our anthem remains. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. I'll see you all again soon. Be well, fellow sheep.